When I was in school learning stuff, no one ever taught me about all the cool shit in our history. Cool stuff like long lost mysterious civilizations that up and disappeared. And if you're looking for a good teacher on the subject, well, maybe you found one. Because I'm going to tell you about some of the strangest, most mysterious civilizations that must have risen to great heights before mysteriously crumbling to the ground. And no, I'm not talking about hypothetical civilizations like Atlantis that might have existed. I'm talking about civilizations that we know existed, but we don't have a friggin' clue as to who the people were, what they were all about. Now, anybody who knows anything about history understands that civilizations come and go, rise and fall, and our ecology is pretty good about digging shit up and making sense of those old civilizations. Civilizations like those in ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, Greece, and Rome. And yeah, we even know a little bit about the Mesoamerican civilizations here in the America. And as good as our ecologists might be at digging shit up, they ain't dug nothing up about the sea people. About 1200 years ago before Christ, there was a group of people we know only as the sea people. And they are called the sea people because ancient Egyptian descriptions refer to them coming from the midst of the sea or from the islands. And this seafaring civilization wasn't just responsible for attacking the coastal cities of Egypt, but they also contributed to the collapse of the Bronze Age. And the Bronze Age was a time when humans were using a lot of bronze in their lives. And while it was once thought that the sea people were totally responsible for the collapse of the Bronze Age, today it's believed their raids disrupted trade in the Mediterranean Sea were more part of a perfect storm in that collapse. We do know that they played a part in the fall of the Hittite Empire and were responsible for the abandonment of the Hittite capital, Hattusa, as well as knowing that their naval tactics of the sea people destabilized the militaries at the time. And the question is, who the fuck were these people from the sea? The answer? We just don't know. They weren't just pirates, and evidence points to them being a migratory civilization, one that was always on the move. From the blue waters of the Mediterranean, we're now moving on to the dry desert of the American Southwest, a land of timeless mystery, a land where the Inazi lived and played, in what is known as the Four Corners, a place where Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico meet, a nation of Native Americans, ancestors to today's Pueblo Indians, created a magnificent civilization, all before the birth of Christ that lasted up to about 1300 years ago. That's 1,500 years of building cliff dwellings, creating an agricultural society that mastered farming in the arid environment, along with being skilled astronomers and master craftsmen. Then they all just up and left. And no, they were not taken by aliens. The ancestral Puebloans abandoned everything, and that's a mystery here, except it's really not a mystery where they went. And why they up and walked away from their home, that's the great mystery. Was their society like ours on the verge of collapse, or had it collapsed? Another theory is drought, and tree rings provide evidence of a drought during the time they up and walked away. There is also evidence of violence in the form of buildings being burned and the religious centers known as kivas were being destroyed. And there is also some evidence of cannibalism, and that comes from human biologics and the fossilized shit known as coprolite. Whatever the reason that this once great civilization of early America upped and moved, it must have been a good one, and I don't know why we just can't like ask our ancestors, today's Pueblo Indians. 'Cause to them, it ain't no mystery. They just up and migrated 'cause it was time. Which brings history in a large part to what we know as interpretation. And usually interpretation is based on current belief systems. For instance, just about everything I was taught in history about how our North American continent in evolution as well was wrong. But that is how the history I was taught at the time was interpreted. And when it comes to lost civilizations, why, there's literally hundreds of them all over the world. And some of them we know quite a bit about, and others maybe not so much. And yeah, there's a lot of mystery. Mystery as to who people were, how they managed to construct huge cities and magnificent temples, how they cultivated and irrigated the land, their religious and cultural practices, all lost to the earth, dirt and dust that covers and hides these ancient sites. And then there's Troy, once thought to be a city of story, myth, and legend, only to have been found to have existed. And one has to ponder, what does that say of Atlantis and other myths that we may take for granted? Mysterious and lost civilizations, everywhere and anywhere in time. This video did not turn out the way I expected it to. I originally had done research like on 4 or 5 different civilizations, and I just wanted to give you a different interview or overview of the mystery of it all. And I started getting into it, and you know what? I had heard about the sea people before, and it just, so I kept, I had always been a little interested in them, so I kept doing research, and then suddenly the first 3 minutes of the video were about the sea people. And then the same thing with the Anunnaki. Okay. So, it ended up just being about these 2 lost civilizations, and it's fine. I mean, that's all right, because I'll do the others down the road someplace. So I just thought I'd pass that along. Other than that, yeah, mysterious civilizations are cool, man. I love them. So much shit in our history has changed just since I've been in high school, since I was taught. So, whatever you're taught today, don't hold on to it as any kind of truth, because that shit does change constantly. Okay, with that said, thanks for watching. Thanks for spending your time with me. Hope you subscribe. Hope you gave me a like. Maybe you even want to share this video. I'm a nice guy. Share me. Okay. Thanks. Out of here.